All right, so Stephen Hill, a lot of people may know him or may not. I'm not for sure, but he was a big force at BET, more recently BET, but like just in everything. I think he's the background of so many great music moments, music, television, and radio moments. He was on the R&B Money podcast with Tank and Jay Valentine, and they have this segment that they do that's called I'm Not Saying No Names, and in that segment you have to tell a story or something, but you don't use any names. So people normally get into some things on that part of it because you don't got to name anybody. So let's take a listen to what Stephen Hill decided to talk about, and then we'll connect the Chris Brown dots here. Let's take a listen.
There was a show that myself and other people were working on. We were celebrating an accomplishment, I can't use any names, this is good, of an artist, and they had a milestone number to their album. We wanted this artist for it. To do this, we had to get network approval. 2 people we work with directly and 2 people who were in the clouds. We go to the 2 people we work with and go like, we would like to have this person do this thing for this artist. Gets to work right away and makes videos of the progress, and we're blown away. The 2 people here didn't tell the 2 people here what the plan was. The 2 people in the stratosphere did not like what was going to go down. We had to pull the offer. 3 months later, I wasn't working at that place anymore. Of all of the experiences I've ever had in my career, the one I am most apologetic to that artist about, you can give me a yes, you can give me a no. Don't give me a yes and turn it into a no.
Yeah, so he doesn't say any names, but here is how people when I listen to it, I'm like, oh, he's definitely talking about Chris Brown in the 2022 AMAs, because he mentioned that at the time they were celebrating an artist's like huge music accomplishment. That year, this tribute was going to be a celebration of the 40th anniversary of Thriller. Michael Jackson's Thriller. Yep. And then Stephen Hill said he wasn't working with BET at the time or any like network. He was working with a third-party company that was just working with the show. That year, he would have been EPing the AMAs with Jesse Collins, who produces a lot of our award shows. And so that connected those dots, right? Now, when he talks about like later on in the podcast, he talks about you can go on YouTube right now and watch those videos.
I watched it last night, and that him practicing and Chris him doing Brown. Rehearsals, Chris Brown. Oh my gosh!
Yes.
Did you see it, Jess?
Of course, I was there.
He been doing those. He been practicing for that his whole life.
Right, right. So he says like you could still go on YouTube and watch this artist, and you'll know how on point that tribute would have been.
Flawless.
And everybody remembers back at the time when Chris Brown had announced that he wasn't going to be performing anymore at the 2022 AMAs. He did it through posting those videos that I believe Stephen Hill is talking about, and he captioned it with "You serious?" Would have been the AMA performance, but they canceled me for reasons unknown. There was a statement that came out when this was canceled. A rep for Dick Clark Productions that also works on AMAs says the live shows change all the time. It's the nature of the business. Unfortunately, this element of the AMAs didn't come together. We couldn't align on performances to no fault of Chris Brown. And then there were other reports that just said a reason unknown.
BS.
So everything points to Chris Brown. And Stephen Hill also said too, he hasn't seen Chris Brown since all of that, but he would love to run into him and to see him to apologize in person, because Chris Brown they had worked on this performance for so long. It didn't happen overnight.
There's nobody who should do any Michael Jackson tributes except for Chris Brown and Miles Frost, or anybody who played Michael in MJ the Musical. Yeah. Those are the only ones who should be doing Michael Jackson tributes. Who did when was Janelle Monáe at when she did the Michael Jackson tribute that she shouldn't have done?
That just happened Grammys? Yeah, I believe.
Yeah, no, it was not Michael Jackson that she was doing.
Chris Brown needs to do it. Like, I've never seen something so flawless. If you get a chance, just Google it. It's like, I think 12 minutes, and they're just going through like some of his biggest records. And when I mean Jesus Christ. I'm
telling you, Chris
kills it.
Chris and Miles Frost.
Flawless.
Miles Frost, who did MJ the Musical. Those are the 2 best.
Yeah, that was the Grammys too with Janelle Monáe when she was on a tribute to Thriller.
Well, God bless Janelle Monáe. That should have been Chris Brown.
Yes.
Well, they also, I wanted to pose this question to the room. They had asked in conversation, because Stephen Hill was a huge Michael Jackson fan. Like he talked about him like, Michael Jackson and Prince, talked about them like 5-6 times on the podcast. But he asked a question, and I thought it was interesting. Who is the best kid singer of all time? They talked about Michael Jackson. They talked about Brandy, Teddy Riley. Like they talked about a bunch of different people.
Kid singer? Yeah. Like child singer?
Yes, of all time.
Michael Jackson.
Depends what they're talking about. If you're talking about vocals, I don't know. But if you're talking about performing, probably
Michael.
Performance.
Vocals and all, Michael.
Some of the comments.
I'm not going to say that. I don't know.
It's Michael Jackson. If you don't know, then
I'll be there, Michael.
You don't know, but based on the child singers I've seen, Michael Jackson.
Best
Full
child
package.
performer for sure.
I think all of the above.
And
when
them
it comes to
pipes,
Michael.
having them pipes like that when you little, like
Yes.
what?
That's what they were talking about.
It was
Was
a
like the
low-ass boy
soul
singing
in the
to the
kid.
best of his ability.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Well, that was it. That's all. Hopefully, Chris Brown. Hopefully, when he sees his silver spine, he posts on his social sometimes.
Well, make sure you subscribe to the R&B Money Podcast with Tank and Jay Valentine on the Black Effect iHeartRadio Podcast Network. Fantastic conversations they be having over there.
It was great. And I hope Chris gets another opportunity to actually do it. And I hope he wants to do it. You know what I mean? Because I feel like this is the second or third time they pump faked on him.
He doing it at home all the time. This man, I guarantee you, Chris Brown has been doing Michael Jackson tributes at home since the day he was born. Okay? Anytime you call Chris Brown to be on stage to do Michael Jackson, he'll be there. Okay.
All right.
Okay.
That's the latest with Laura. Charlamagne, who you giving that donkey to?
Man, 4 after the hour. Lord have mercy. Janine White of Florida needs to come to the front of the congregation. We would like to have a word with her.
All right. We'll get to that next. It's The Breakfast Club. Good morning.
Wake that ass up.
In the morning.
The Breakfast Club.